Tonight I have the most serious and urgent prophetic word that I have ever released. Beginning tonight, I am releasing a 10-day of judgment upon the earth. Tonight, I urge you to listen because those who listen, those who truly take in what the Lord is revealing to me in this hour, it could mean the difference between life and death. I urge you, yes, a lot will be said tonight, but every word has been instructed by the Father Himself. Everything that He has revealed to me is so significant, and taking into account the seriousness of this message that has been given me, which I will release over 10 days, judgment upon all of mankind, taking that into account. I urge you, please listen. And do not only listen, but share this video far and wide so that many others can listen to what is on God's heart for us all right now. All right, so if you followed my channel, you know that on the 11th of February this year, I released a prophetic warning about an eclipse that is happening on the 8th of April this year. Since then, many others have released videos and prophetic warnings regarding the 8th of April and the solar eclipse that is happening on this date. Okay, now I'm beginning the first day of judgment tonight, as instructed by Father, to begin tonight, and I will release a video every second day, 10 days of judgment. The final day just happens to end on the 8th of April. As I was busy preparing today to bring you this message, the Father drew my attention to the dates. As I said to you, I released that prophecy on the 11th of February. So when we look at the number 11 and the number 2, we can see 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? So we have the final number, the number 22. So I went to look, what is the biblical significance of the number 22? Now this is very, very important. As I continue with this tonight, you'll see that this is great significance. Now, this biblical number 22 has two meanings, and both of them are exactly opposite from one another. One meaning is that it's a number of light. It represents light. And another meaning is that it also represents darkness. So we can see that the biblical interpretation of the number 22 is pointing to light as well as darkness. Now, think about the significance of that regarding the prophecy about a solar eclipse, which is literally the light that is being turned into darkness. That's what a solar eclipse is. That's what happens. And even yet the same day I released the prophetic word adds up to the numerical value of 22, which points to darkness as well as light. Now, as I said a few days ago, Father called me to 10 days of consecration, and He instructed me to listen each day for a day of judgment. That's 10 days of judgment. All right. And He also instructed me to release the first day today, which is the 21st of March. Again, we will do the same thing we did with the first date. 21, 2 plus 1 is 3, and yet it is the third month, which adds to 33. So I went to look at the biblical meaning of 33. And astonishingly, I found it also represents two things. The number 33 represents judgment as well as promised blessing. So the promises of God is represented in the number 33. The promises of God is revealed, as well as the judgment of God. We see again two opposites being revealed. Now this is very, very significant. Okay. Now, as I said to you, I am busy with 10 days of judgment. I've received this 10 days, this set of 10 days, I believe is the final judgment that I will speak over mankind. I was also told to release this exactly as I explained, every second day. Now, take note that the last day is on the solar eclipse, the 8th of April. Now, this is a very significant date as well. This is as well the final day of the Muslim holy days, which is a month of fasting. It's called Ramadan. And their final day of celebrating this high holy month to them falls on the 8th of April. All right. The Jewish calendar, according to the Bible, also begins on the 8th of April because God institutes in Exodus 12, He institutes the first month of the biblical year. Yes, today the Israel keeps it in the 7th month for some reason, but according to Exodus 12, it was the first month of the year, 1 Nisan. And this begins on the 8th of April. This is also very, very significant. Do you see already the prophetic sign between darkness and light is consistent all over, all through this message? And then, if that wasn't enough, 14 days later, Passover begins on the 22nd of April. All right. Now, we all know, according to Exodus 12, why the Passover, when the Passover was first instituted, was after the 10 plagues. It was given over Egypt, right? 10 plagues was sent over Egypt. And then God, when He sent the final plague, He instituted the Passover so that His people could be saved. That's also very significant. And as I will explain to you tonight, these 10 days of judgment, the Father placed it on my heart that it is just like the 10 plagues of Egypt, and that He sees this current kingdom of man as an Egyptian bondage. All right. We refer to it as a spiritual Egypt. So this is all very significant. Why is God doing all of this and showing us these signs and choosing specific dates and connecting those dates to biblical understanding? Because He wants your attention. He wants you to understand how serious this is. He's trying to grab your attention to listen. Because if you don't, it could cost you your life. Please, I urge you, listen to this whole video. Listen to all 10 days. Because He not only judges, He also explains why He is judging. And He also gives us the hope, the promise of survival if we follow in His ways. Therefore, please listen. All right. Now, understand that it is significant because of what I'm about to reveal to you. The fact that He calls us spiritual Egypt. I am going to shock many of you tonight. I was shocked when the Father showed me this. In fact, the second day of receiving the judgment, I spent the entire day on my face sobbing. Sobbing to such an extent that I couldn't speak. I was just lying at His feet, sobbing, because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And therefore I say, this is the hardest message I will ever have to give you. And I believe it is the final judgment that I will speak over mankind. Listen to the end, because I'm going to reveal to you why He says that our current kingdom of man is likened to Egypt, and why He says that we are enslaved to it. Now, in 2022, I received the first set of judgment upon mankind. This was judgment over all of man. It was a 7-day fire prophecy that the Father gave me. 7 days of consecration, and each day He would give me another day of judgment. I released that in 2022. I will link it below if you want to go see that. Now, in this 7-day prophecy, he prophesied fire every single day, that judgment would fall by fire and the earth would start burning. What happened weeks after was suddenly the earth started burning. What do I mean with this? Many countries, many nations all around the world started burning. In fact, records were broken worldwide in the year 2022, 2023, and even the beginning of this year, where so many nations blazed with fires. Cities were burned. People died. Thousands upon thousands of hectares were burning all over the world. Canada, America, Europe, Asia, Africa, everywhere it was burning. I actually documented the fires and put it in a video so that you can see that the prophecy was coming to pass. I'll also link that below. This is very significant. Take note. This prophecy came to pass, yet it is not complete. It will continue to be fulfilled. Okay? The earth is going to continue to burn until the days of judgment is complete. All right. Then in 2023, I received another set of judgment. This time, it was 3 days of judgment. And this time, it was all about war. I prophesied that all of the earth would be erupted in war, in a battle, and that we would see World War III breaking out. Okay, now, this was released last year in August. I specifically went to see, is anyone else prophesying it? Is anyone even speaking about World War III? And I could find nothing. Nothing was being said. Yes, Israel was at war, and the whole world was focusing on the war in Israel, but no one was breathing a word about World War III yet. Now, look at the difference today, just a few months later. Everyone is talking about World War III. The newspapers, the governments, everywhere, the prophets, everyone is talking about World War III. And not only are they talking about it, but wars have escalated. So many more wars have broken out. That is not being spoken of in mainstream media. Yet if you go and look for it, you'll find it. Division, war, civil war, everywhere. It is spreading across the globe. And the tensions are high right now. Look at what NATO is doing. For the first time, I think since their inception, or since the Cold War, they are actually coming together to strengthen their armies, building more equipment, getting more ammunition and guns, and practicing, literally, for World War III. It's so bad that the Swedish, I think it was the Prime Minister or the President, told his country to prepare for war. He actually told his people to get ready for war. Russia is also expanding their army. Everywhere we look, there is tension. Everybody knows. You don't need to be a prophet anymore today to understand that we are on the precipice of a world war. All right. Now, the Father showed me something significant. He gave me 7 days of prophecy in 2022 and another 3 days in 2023. 7 plus 3 is 10. That again comes back to the 10 days of judgment given over Egypt. This is significant. And now in 2024, he gives me the final days of judgment upon mankind, and it's 10 days again. This time, please take note, because it is the severest judgment I have ever spoken. In fact, if he had not given me the first 7 days and 3 days, and my eyes had seen that prophecy come to pass, I don't think I would have been able to speak what I'm about to speak. I don't think I would have been able to do it, because it is that severe. It is that intense. But because I've seen God work, because I know that I hear from Him, and because I've seen the prophetic word come to pass over and over throughout the years, I know that you need to listen and that I need to warn you. All right. Now, why is God doing this? Because, like I said, He's trying to get your attention. Just as the other prophecies came to pass, so will this prophecy. You need to take note. I want you to understand right now. I want you to understand something. As the Father was ministering to me during these days, He showed me something very, very interesting. He showed me that right now, our current world system, okay, all of the nations included, He sees it as the kingdom of man. Now, if we go back to the book of Daniel and all the prophecies that Daniel spoke, we see the prophetic word spans over centuries. And what is he prophesying about? He is prophesying about the rise and fall of many of men's kingdoms. And in the same way, today, we are, in the eyes of God, a kingdom of man. Now, if we look at the beginning of the scriptures to the end, we see the same thread running through the Bible, right from the beginning all the way to the end. We see that there is historical and prophetic accounts of the rise and fall of the kingdoms of men. We also see the most famous one, the very first judgment, is upon the entire earth, and that is in the time of Noah. We know what happened. God judged the entire earth, the kingdom of man, during the time of Noah, and only Noah and his family was saved. That is the severest judgment that God poured out upon all of man. Then we saw Sodom and Gomorrah, and we saw Him wipe them off the face of the earth with fire and brimstone, only saving Lot and his family. And unfortunately, his wife was not saved because she disobeyed God. She did not listen to the instructions given to her in order to be saved. Let Lot's wife be an example to us today. There is a way of escape. There is a way to be saved, but you must obey the word of the Lord. Else you will be just like Lot's wife. Then we saw the judgment on Egypt, the kingdom of man called Egypt, and 10 plagues were sent to destroy that kingdom. We saw the same pattern throughout the Bible on many different kingdoms of men, over and over and over. And we can even go back into our historical books and look at our archaeological sites that has been uncovered by scientists. Think about the Mayan kingdom that was uncovered by scientists. They cannot explain what happened to them. They assume they know, but they cannot explain it. The same with so many other kingdoms of men throughout our history, that they've found the ruins, they've uncovered it, and they cannot explain what happened to these people. It's like they were just wiped off the face of the earth. The same thing we see in the Bible. We see judgment fall on these kingdoms, and they are either utterly destroyed or their power is broken and they're never the same again. Now, God judged these kingdoms for the evil that they were committing in His sight. What are these evils that he judged them for? Number one, child sacrifice. Many of them were committing child sacrifice. Number two, sexual orgies, adulteries, fornications. They were committing great evil in the sight of God. Number three, idolatry. They were worshipping all kinds of false gods and doing detestable things to worship these gods. Men laying with men and women laying with women, and both of them laying with beasts of the earth. God judged these kingdoms. And God also judged kingdoms for creating things that were evil in his sight. Look at Egypt. Have you looked at the history of Egypt? Look at the pyramids. Can you imagine what kind of technology they had back then? What secrets they had uncovered? What systems? It was so advanced that we cannot even understand it today. They built a great and mighty kingdom, and Pharaoh exalted himself as a god. And then God sent his people there so that he can come and save them and destroy the might of that kingdom. Today, there is no trace of anything. We can only see in their books, in their papyruses and the writings on their walls that they had these kinds of things. And yes, we can see the pyramids, but all technology that they used back then has been destroyed. There's no trace of it. We don't know what kind of technology they actually had. And yet some scientists say that it's more advanced than anything we actually currently have today. And that's saying something. All right. But what I see is the most consistent reason for God's judgment to fall on an earthly kingdom, the severest judgment of God, where he destroys all of them, is when it becomes so evil in that civilization that it is no longer safe for the most innocent of men, and that is little children. The little children are no longer safe and protected in that society, that kingdom of man. This is a telltale sign that man's evil has reached a point of no return. When little children are no longer regarded as innocent and in need of protection, it is a telltale sign that the evil has reached a cup that is overflowing. Now, throughout the 10 days of judgment, you will again learn exactly why we are being judged. What is going on? What are we doing that is so evil in God's sight? Understand the seriousness of this. It could cost you your life, like I said, or it could save it. Save others. Share this video far and wide. This is how YouTube's algorithms work. Even if you don't share it, please like it. Please comment something, because you need to comment in order for YouTube's algorithms to push this video up. I need to get this message out, even if you just say, God, have mercy in the comment section. Please help me spread this word. Now, what God has shown me is that we, as the kingdom of man, the current kingdom of man, is reaching a tipping point. God is about to destroy this current kingdom of man and all that we have built, just as he did with Egypt. This current civilization has been judged by the heavenly courts, and judgment has been decreed upon man. Judgment has been written on the wall, and there is nothing we can do about it at this point. The only way to survive it is to obey him exactly as he tells us. That's the only way. To do exactly what he tells us to do. If not, like I said, we will be like Lot's wife. and we will not make it. I'm now going to release to you the first day, the word of the Lord, and what he has spoken. And afterwards, I'm going to explain something to you that's going to shock you. But I have to tell you, I have to awaken you to understand what is going on in this world around us. All right. For thus is the Lord our God, the great I am. I am the first and the last. Before you were, I am. Therefore listen, mankind, for I existed before you were formed. Therefore all wisdom is within me alone. You say you know much. You say you have no need of me. Yet the very breath of my mouth is what gives you life. Mankind has been enslaved for many years now, and you do not know it. You do not see it. You have become fools who boast in your own knowledge and your own ways. For man has exalted himself as a god and pursued greatness in their existence. Yet I alone am God, and I alone will be exalted. You set yourself up as idols. Listen. You set yourself up as idols. You have done more wickedly than any other generation before you. You have praised yourself for the work of your hands and the rapid growth you have achieved in the last 100 years. You have done more wickedly than Sodom and Gomorrah and all the evil kingdoms of this earth combined. O mankind, you have exalted yourselves as gods and enslaved the entire human race. You thought in your heart that you were so clever because you could do it in such a way that no one would notice and no one would see your evil plan and no one would realize what you have done. You have exalted yourselves and built a mighty kingdom, the kingdom of man. But with one breath of my mouth I will blow on your kingdom, and it shall all crumble, and it shall all fall. For what man can stand against me, the Almighty? You have done great wickedness in my sight, therefore I shall judge you. Yes, my judgment is coming. For as I delivered my people out of slavery in Egypt to a human race that was building its own kingdom, that was exalting itself and making itself great and setting itself up as if it was a god while enslaving my people. In the same way I will judge you, O man, and each of you that have had a hand in enslaving my people and exalting yourselves as God over my people. Humble yourselves, for judgment is at hand, O man. Each and every man and woman who is found guilty in my courts shall pass under my judgment, for it is surely coming, it is surely here. But many will not listen, many will not hear, for their hearts are ruled by power and greed. Their hearts are not ruled by me. But even so, I have spoken to my children. I have awoken those who have been fast asleep. I have been whispering in their ear while they sleep at night. I say to them, this is the way, walk in it. For I have opened the eyes of the blind, those you have blinded with a heavy yoke of slavery, promising them riches and a part of your man-made kingdom, promising them greatness. Yes, you have enslaved my people, and I shall now arise to free all of them. For I am shaking off every bond and shackle and chain. I am saying to my people, awake, awake and see that you have been enslaved, just as my people were enslaved in Egypt through the work of their hands. So, mankind, has been enslaved. To those who have been filled with a hunger for power and greed, those who rule over your economy. That includes all sectors of your economy. The first one he mentions is banks. That's important because that's where it all began. Healthcare, financial services, information technology, media, industrials, consumer staples, energy, real estate, consumer discretionary like Amazon, industrials like Boeing, utility companies and material companies like mines, even the church, education and tourism. I shall pour out judgment upon each of these sectors of your economy, and those who have been participating in enslaving my people. Wake up, I say. Those who have been in slumber, wake up and see that you have been caught in the snare of man, to build the kingdom of man, to make man great again. Where have you heard those words before? Wake up, I say, my children, arise out of your bondage and slavery. For I am breaking off your shackles, I am ripping off your chains. Open your eyes and see what you have been bound by for so long, for this was not my will, nor my ways. For did I not make man with a free will, free to choose his path of life, free to choose the labor of his hands, and free to provide for his family? I'll explain that in a moment. And yet as time goes on, this generation is taking away the freedom of man. And your agenda and your intentions are to continue enslaving man more and more. Wake up, O man, for there is a time planned for you to bring you into slavery that is worse than what my people endured in Egypt. Wake up, O man, for the evil one has risen and taken advantage of the wickedness of man, to build something that I did not build, to pursue something that I did not ordain, and that is artificial intelligence. It is artificial, says the Spirit of God, because it is not made by me, the Creator of heaven and earth. Your enemy is rising, and this enemy will enslave you. For can any good come from anything that is not created by me? Wake up, O man. I'm calling you to wake up. Many will not listen. Many will not hear, for they have been enslaved in ideals, in fantasies, in pictures of a perfect life. They have turned to man as their providers, and they have forgotten that I alone provide for you, that I alone supply the work of your hands, that I alone release abundance to those who walk in righteousness and truth, that I alone give you blessing, O man, and that I alone can release the curse upon wickedness. You have not sought me, you have not turned to me in all of your ways, but followed the dictates of your own evil heart, seeking after a fantasy of making great the kingdom of man. You live in your luxury homes, and you seek after every form of comfort in your lives and ease of life, so that you can enjoy the comforts of laziness, not even willing to get up, says the Spirit of God, and change a button on your television, creating remotes so that you can remain still and not have to move your feet. Many do not know, and many have never understood hard labor. For you enslave many others to do the hard labor for you, and you treat them appallingly. and you do not even pay them enough to put food on the table. Man has enslaved mankind. I will hold each of you accountable that has done this wickedness in my sight, for I paid the price for all man to find freedom in me. And yet many do not know me, and many do not have time for me. For all are pursuing the dream of man, to make the kingdom of man great. You scurry about each day to jobs, your occupations, and barely give me a thought, says the Spirit of God. You run around and travel great distances simply to pursue your dreams and play your part in making the kingdom of man great, not knowing that you are enslaved in a system that was created to enslave you, to rule over you, to direct your steps, and to prevent you from pursuing me and allowing me to lead any part of your life. You are bound, mankind, to the labor of your hands. You are bound to your bosses, to your companies, to your places of employment, to your banks. You are enslaved, and you do not even know it. Wake up, my children, and see the slavery that has taken hold of you and even your children. You are being bred like cattle for the work of your hands, to make every corporation, company, and institution and government great. You call it your economy. You are enslaved to make your economy great. It is a part of a system that from its inception was planned to enslave you by the elite. And yet many millions of people now participate in enslaving their fellow human beings. Love has grown cold. Compassion has left their hearts, and all they see is power and greed. But what they do not see is the great I am, and how I have watched with long suffering, and how I have endured what you have done to my people. But now I shall arise, and I shall pour out my judgments, and who shall annul it? And who shall stop it from coming? This great kingdom of man shall not prevent the breath of my mouth from blowing. Can you prevent the winds of my destruction? For I will bring about great destruction on the kingdom of man. I shall topple your governments. I shall destroy your economies. I shall take away the labor of your hands. And I shall awaken my people to turn another way, to find their freedom, to live a life in worship of me and me alone, to find joy and peace and no longer have their time stolen. As the Holy Spirit said this, have you noticed how time is sped up? And every year it just seems like you have less and less and less time. It literally feels like the days are going faster. What the Holy Spirit revealed to me here is that because man is stealing the time of man, it is literally having an impact on our time. Something is happening to our time where literally our days are shortening. For man is stealing the time of man, says the Holy Spirit. Years are being taken from you, my children. Years of your life for the sake of the kingdom of man, when I called you to live for my kingdom and mine alone. Wake up, my children, for I am about to blow this house of cards that you have built with the breath of my mouth. For I will unleash the winds of heaven, yes, from the four corners of the earth. I am releasing the winds of heaven, and wherever it blows, it shall destroy, and nothing shall be hidden from it. I shall blow upon these houses of straw that you have built, for it is nothing in my sight. this great kingdom that you have exalted yourself with, O man. And I just know that many are looking at this kingdom, this mighty kingdom, and thinking to themselves, really? Will God destroy it all? And maybe you're even thinking, can he? For thus says the Holy Spirit, I shall blow on it with the breath of my mouth, for judgment is at hand. My children, do not fear, but take shelter in me. Now here is the key. Remember, I command the wind, and therefore take up your authority in me as my child and as a part of my kingdom, and command the wind, and it shall not come near you. You shall look upon it as it destroys all those around you, but it shall not touch you. It shall not come near you, for I am your God, and I have spoken. There's so much in this word the Father revealed to me. I'm actually going to write a book. This is a book that the Father told me already 3 years ago that I would write. My first book I wrote was The Kingdom of Darkness, where God revealed the entire enemy's kingdom to me. The next book I will write, he said back then already, is The Kingdom of Man. And that's what I'm busy with. This is the final judgment. It will be called The Kingdom of Man, the Final Judgment. In that book, I will explain everything and give you all the scriptures that God has given me. This is prophesied in the Word of God, that he will pour out judgment upon the entire earth. It is all there if you look in the book of Jeremiah, in Isaiah, in Amos, so much. There's so much prophecy over the kingdoms of man. And like I said, from the beginning of the Bible till the end, there is prophecy regarding the rise and fall of men's kingdom. Listen, Egypt was a mighty kingdom, and yet it stood no chance against the Almighty God. So before you think that this world is indestructible, as they said over the Titanic, God cannot sink it. Before you think that, remember that he did. All right. Now, on the first day after this prophecy, Father started showing me things about this world. I knew bits and pieces. He's already taken us out of the world. He's already commanded us step by step. We just obeyed, sometimes not even understanding why. But now he's given me the whole picture. For the first time I understood why he calls the world Egypt. So, remember, he says in the word, it began with a select few. These were bankers, okay? Astonishingly, as Father revealed these things to me and started showing me that we are enslaved by our own economy, that this whole system that we have built in how we earn money, even the money that is being used, this paper that is presented as a dollar or as a rand or as a euro, even that has no value. It is fake. It is useless. It's got no value, but because they've told you it's got value, you work for it every day. And you take what has no value and you go and buy what other things have no value, your homes, your cars, and all of these things. You work your entire life just to have that. But you cannot buy that house and you cannot buy that car without debt. You see, it's brilliant. They knew it. So they created a money system that would enslave you. And they created debt to put that noose right around your neck. Because debt that is created out of nothing, trust me, out of nothing, it is not even real. That's how bad it is. It is simply numbers on a screen that is presented to you, telling you that you must work your entire life to pay off these numbers on this screen. It is a lie. It's not even real. The paper that we're using, it's not real. It has no value. But it was created to enslave you so that you could make debt and for the rest of your life have to work to pay off that debt. It is a system of slavery that was incorporated by bankers, by the elite. And America led the way, took us off of the gold standard, led us with this money system that God did not create for us to live with. And so they just keep printing money. Cost prices are rising, inflation is rising, taxes are rising. At the end of the day, the grip is just tightening. How much money do you have every month for food? After you've paid all your bills, what is left? What kind of food can you even buy? Most of the population on this earth, so many are starving. Do you know that there is enough food for everybody on this planet? But because the rich desire to get richer, they have made the poor get even poorer. Listen, as the Father showed me all of these things, I asked for a confirmation because this is mind-blowing. I thought of it as, you know that movie The Matrix, where Neo is sitting in front of Morpheus and he offers him this blue pill, this red pill. He takes the pill of truth and he's revealed what's really going on, and that his entire existence has been a lie. And that's the reality I'm trying to tell you tonight. It was all planned. It was all planned by a select few to get richer. Greed and power has driven them to enslave the entire globe. Today we even have children who are working like slaves to bring you cheap products. Many of you don't even realize the products that you are buying are made by children, little children, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, working day and night just for a loaf of bread a day. That's it. To make the rich richer and the poor poorer. And we are all a part of this system. We make our companies rich. Look at the difference between the top CEO's salary and the guy who brings the mail. Look at the difference in salaries. They made it this way. It's going to get worse. The whole system has been made to enslave you. Why do you think the schools are tightening their grips on our children's education? It's all part of the plan. They're indoctrinating your children to also be plugged into the system, to also be enslaved. You think you have free will. You think you have choice. But in reality, you are brainwashed into believing that you are free. And that this ideal, this fantasy life of the comfort of a beautiful home, and cars and holidays and all of these things that we lavish ourselves with, that we slave for, Monday to Friday, some Monday to Sunday, we're told that this is the ideal life, this is the way to happiness. As in, they call it in America the American dream. It has become the worldwide dream. It's all we desire, it's all we live for. We work so hard to accomplish that. Where God made us to know Him, to live simple lives, to fear Him, and to walk in His commandments. God made us to enjoy His blessings from His hands. Yes, we can work. Yes, we can provide for our families, but in a whole other way. God did not create this system. God did not desire to enslave us. This is a man-made system, and it's made to enslave you. And we've gone that far. We've worshipped ourselves and the work of our hands that much that we have now committed the greatest idolatry that any man, any human kingdom has ever committed on this earth. We have created artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? It is an image of us. We have made an image of man. We've taken our voice and how God made us and put it into something artificial because we worship ourselves that much and the work of our hands. We've put our intelligence in a being that has no life, and yet today it can speak and it can think for itself. We've made an image of ourselves, and we will worship it. Man is already worshiping it. Have you seen what they've just created? Go and look. It's just being released. There's a new robot that can move just like us, that can speak just like us, that can think for itself. We have created ourselves as gods. And as the Father says, these things will enslave us more and more. I pray that you will listen. I pray that you will share this. Now, astonishingly, I found a video that explains everything of the slavery system in detail. I ask God for confirmation. This video goes into every little detail. This video, these people, these are experts. I need you to understand. This isn't just anybody speaking. These are economists. These are people that have worked for the World Bank. These are CEOs of companies. They know, they've seen the evil that was created. And everything the Father showed me in the secret place, these men are speaking about and have been speaking about for years now. Who is listening? And get this, I just read you the word of the Lord on day 1. I found the video on day 2, and I was shocked because they quote word for word phrases that the Father spoke to me in this word on day 1. Go listen to the whole video. It's almost 2 hours long, but oh my, you need to listen. Word for word, they are saying what the Father is saying to me. The link is below. Please share these videos. These prophecies are going to come to pass. Day 1 is judgment by wind. I've seen what winds can do. I've seen 110-kilometer winds rip right through, tearing thick trees right out of the ground, buildings collapsing. This is not a joke. And this is the least of the 10 days. Shalom.